We need to talk. Okay, so hear me out. The rate of relationships having to move long distance because of our friend COVID has been skyrocketing at an alarming rate. Maybe you're in one. Maybe that's why you clicked on this video. And if that's the case, you're in luck. Not many people know how to navigate a relationship when there's like a plane or an ocean between you and the person. Luckily, I've only ever been in long distance relationships, so I have the experience in that. So I thought I would share my wealth of knowledge on this subject. And honestly, this video probably would have been better like way back in March. But we're still in quarantine here in Toronto, so I mean, I'm still hoping it's relevant. For example, I'm still unable to see my boyfriend Corey, who lives in Florida. Although they opened up the borders for people to go see like their boyfriends and girlfriends and stuff. You have to quarantine for 2 weeks when you get back here, and it's just who can take off a month of work? Not really realistic. So I thought I'd do a little video today on 5 things, maybe more, that I didn't know until I was in a long distance relationship. I thought I would start off on how Corey and I met. Basically, I used to be a live streamer on this app called live.me, you know? Basically, it was TikTok live streaming before TikTok was a thing. That sums it up. I used to be a big streamer on there. Corey was one of my viewers. I just ended up putting him into like the video chat thing on there and bringing him into my friend group. We just kept talking, and from then on, we've been together. If you asked him, he was actually following me for like years. Kind of just all worked out. And we've been together for 2 years now. Corey was living in Pennsylvania when we met. I live in Toronto. He just moved to Florida last year. We have literally lived in completely different countries the entire time in our relationship. If you didn't know, Canadians can be in America for 6 months in a 12-month period. So I've been mostly spending 6 months a year over there with Corey. And because of the pandemic, it hasn't really been a possibility to go back and see him. We are currently apart until further notice. But before Corey, I was in 2 other brief long distance relationships. You know those relationships or exes where like you just want to forget they happened? Yeah, I was in 2 of those. But yeah, so I have quite the wealth of experience in long distance relationships, and I'm going to bless it upon you all. Big sister Kaitlyn here, and hopefully I can help you out. Let's get into the thing. The first one is a very important one.
She's a Mona Lisa.
So the very first thing is you need to want it. You and the other person need to be dedicated to being in the relationship, and you really, really, really need to know that you want it and that you want to be with the other person. Because the fact is, not everyone can handle a long distance relationship. Some people really need the intimacy of someone being there like 24/7 or like down the road from them. Not everyone can deal with the distance of having to wait like months and months and months to be able to touch the other person or see the other person face to face. And believe me, it's hard. Neither of us want to have to wait months to see each other. We are so sure that we want to be with the other person that it's worth the waiting. And I can say this with confidence because I've been in 2 long distance relationships with people who could not handle it. And let me say this louder for the people in the back. You can't be in a real relationship with a fuckboy, let alone a long distance one. And for the people playing the other side, do not string someone along because you don't want to hurt their feelings, or you're trying to pass the time or like fulfill a momentary need, because the other person is actually most likely dedicated and wanting to be in this relationship, and you're just leading them on, and that just makes you a shitty person. I could legitimately make an entire video of things I've learned from dating fuckboys. Should I make one of those? Let me know. I have so many stories. Now that you know that you want it, we are gonna move into number 2, which is expectations. Now, in a normal relationship, you usually like go it slow, and like you meet the person, you go on some dates, maybe a few months later you meet each other's parents. Just kind of, I'm guessing that's how they go. From my experience with long distance relationships, they move very, very fast. The thing with the long distance relationship is you have to know what the expectations are. You kind of have to know that with any relationship, but I feel like with a long distance one, there's so much more at stake and like time to be wasted and like unknowns that you kind of have to know from the beginning what the expectations are of the relationship and where it's going to go. Unlike a regular relationship, if you were asking like expectations like on the second date, the person might be like, peace out. A long distance relationship, you kind of very, very quickly come to know what is going to happen in the future. And with my 2 exes, it was very, very clear from like the beginning, besides like the fact that they were lying fuckboys and they like said they wanted to be with me, they loved me, and then like turned around a week later and were like, oh my God, you can't tell I'm bitter, right? With Corey, it was very clear from the beginning on what we wanted. You guys have to be on the same page with it. If one person is like getting into this relationship because they want to have a future with someone, get married, they want to settle down, and the other person is just like playing the field and like wants to see what's happening, it's really not going to work with a long distance relationship, which is not fun. And like wondering what the fuck's going on because you're not like sitting face to face talking to them all the time and like hanging out. You're just sitting in your bedroom fucking 100 miles away wondering all the time what's going on, especially with the pandemic where there's like nothing to really do right now. Fucking breeding ground for overthinking. So yeah, from my experience, it's kind of like all or nothing with a like long distance relationship. 100% in, or you're not really in at all. So I kind of feel like you know from the first time meeting someone if they're the one or not, and like you actually want to be all in with this person. With Corey and I, right off the bat, it just felt right. Like long distance relationships are so different than a regular relationship where like you slowly meet the person over time. No, you literally are jumping on a plane, going to live with the person for like a week or two, like 100% 90-day fiance style. You really quickly get to know if someone is the right person or not because you're literally living with them. Don't just go meeting random people off the internet. You're like 100% sure you know who the person is. The other two were also live streamers, and so like I knew that they were real people. Obviously live stream their life, and they were also around my age, which is not saying that they could have been crazy because one of them was crazy. He just wasn't crazy towards me in person. So that was thankful. Anyways, little side warning, make sure you know who you're going to meet because there are so many fucking crazy people in this world, and I'm literally a true crime fanatic, and I've seen all of the crazy in real life and on screen before. So like, just be very fucking careful. Just be sure that the person you're meeting is not going to kidnap you and hide you in their basement. Yeah. Another point of expectations is you kind of have to know what you want out of the other person. Once you know that you guys want to be together, one person can't want to like text 24/7 and like talk on the phone all hours of the day. The other person has like a life and a job and like has things they have to do. The person that wants to talk all the time is gonna get really fucking sad because they're not talking to the person as much as they want to. And then the other person's just gonna get frustrated and annoyed because they're busy. Ever since Corey and I started talking, we have not gone one night without falling asleep on FaceTime and like waking up to each other on FaceTime. Like we literally just keep our FaceTime on all night. And when we're home and not working, we literally are on FaceTime pretty much 24/7. We're those people who literally will just leave it on and do our own things and then just pop in and be like, hey, how you doing? I have no life in Toronto outside of going to work and vlogging, and Corey has a job and no friends really there as well. We're kind of the same person. We're each other's best friend, so we talk to each other 24/7. We respect each other's boundaries of like when we're at work and stuff, we're not gonna be calling each other, bugging each other. We'll still send each other memes and texts and shit, but like we don't expect the other person to respond right away. If you're with the right person, you do not need to overthink. I'm literally the definition of an overplanner and overthinker. I plan everything into my future, even though it's probably not gonna fucking happen, but I literally have picked out my dream house on Zillow in Arizona, and I have a dog that I want to adopt. He has 3 legs and his name is Wallace. I fucking want him. I just can't financially afford him right now because I'm 2020 broke. And did I mention that I'm irrelevant on the internet? Okay, I'm gonna move on to number 3.
What do I
Humans are communicative human beings. We're gonna go with that. When it comes to long distance relationships, you are most likely not going to be seeing the other person for a long period of time, which is why it's a long distance relationship. Another challenging factor is if you're in different time zones. One of my exes lived in LA, so we had a 3-hour difference, and my best friend also lives in LA, and I really don't see a huge discrepancy with the 3-hour time difference, but it's like not that big of a time difference, as in like if someone lived in Australia or like Europe or something, the time differences from North America are like completely different. But my friend Laura is also in a long distance relationship with a guy that lives in England currently. They make it work, so I know it's possible. Luckily Corey and I are in the same time zone, so we don't really have to work around that, but we do have to work around our job schedules. Besides like trying to figure out how you guys are going to talk to each other, FaceTime is like obviously the big thing now. FaceTime is amazing. You see the face-to-face eye contact. Texting is so impersonal. I fucking hate texting. Another huge point about communication that needs to be like dealt with immediately is if something is bothering you or making you kind of jealous, or you think something's up and weird, you need to fucking address it. You need to talk about it. You can't just brush it under the rug and then sit there being bitter about it and stressing out and overthinking it. If you're in a long distance relationship or not, communication is literally the #1 thing, and it will make or break you. Being in a long distance relationship, as we've stated a million times down this video, you're not gonna be seeing the other person a lot, but you're gonna wanna be seeing the other person a lot. A way to kind of calm this is to create a life where you're at. For example, in Toronto, I have no friends here, really. My family's here, obviously, but I really don't hang out with them a lot. Everyone works. They don't kind of live near each other. I currently live with my grandmother, so like I see her all the time. My best friend lives in California. Corey lives in Florida. I have some other friends that are all literally sprinkled around America. I'm not a partier. I have like no social life here. It's hard, especially during a pandemic. You literally have nothing to fucking do except for like sit in your room and watch Netflix, and that can get old real fast. What I'm trying to get at here is like, you need to find things to do so you're not sitting overthinking and over obsessing over things. Whether that be going on Pinterest and planning out your dream life, or finding a hobby, getting a job, or whether that be starting like a YouTube channel or something to keep yourself busy. You need to do stuff like that, or else you're literally going to go crazy if you're in a long distance relationship. Especially if the other person has things that they're doing, FOMO through the roof. Now, everyone's obviously different. This is just like a majority of experience that I've heard from other people that have also been in long distance relationships and my own experience. I literally will get so anxious and bored and like just miss Corey so much. It's literally engraved in my character profile of being a Taurus to be an overthinker if I didn't have other things to do. Thankfully, Corey and I both have jobs right now. I have YouTube. I also take photos for my Instagram, so that keeps me busy. At least I'm having fun here. Something that really helps with this is if you have specific dates that are planned out of when you're gonna see the person again, or you know you're gonna talk to the person again, because then you have something to look forward to. You're planning towards that, and you're not just sitting here in a rut going, what the hell is going on? It's just nice having the affirmative that things aren't gonna be stuck in limbo. This pandemic is not helping it because Corey and I have no clue when we're gonna see each other again, so that's stressful. Okay, the last big thing I'm going to touch on is number 5, which is, this is something that I never expected. You definitely don't deal with probably in a regular relationship because the other person like lives down the street or across town. Okay, so I always thought I had a strong grip on my emotions, but little did I know. Stress of leaving the other person is literally so bad. I thought I was just completely scarred from my exes and that whole debacle, but no. There's actually a couple of people I follow on YouTube, like Kristen Johns and Jess Conti, for example, that also were in long distance relationships who are now married, who have talked about their experience of like being in the long distance part and how literally heartbreaking and like fucking devastating it is to leave the other person. Like, I literally would not wish it upon another person to feel this way. So like when I go to see Corey, I don't just go to see him for like a week. I go to see him for like 4 months at a time. I like cry the entire week before I have to leave, and then the last day is always the worst. Like the anxiety and depression of it all is like so bad. No matter how many times we go through it, it is still just as bad every single time, and I literally cannot help myself. I know Corey hates it so much because it makes him sad that I just can't help it. I really thought I was the only person this happened to. Apparently I'm not. So Corey, it's not just me. This literally happens apparently to everyone. You know, between the pandemic and money and time, it's just a struggle for everyone right now, I'm sure, even if you're not in a long distance relationship. Those are the 5 things that I really didn't expect when getting into long distance relationships. But there are a couple other points that I thought I would bring up that are just kind of weird quirks of long distance relationships that are different than regular relationships. One of these things that's completely different than a regular relationship is that you don't just like slowly meet the person over time. In my experience, if you're gonna go see the person and you're flying and paying for a plane ticket and everything, you're not just gonna go there for like 1 day. You're literally gonna go spend like a week or 2 or 3 in my case with the person, or months. In my case, completely living together for that period of time, like not even meeting each other in person to literally living each other for like weeks at a time. And it can really take a toll on people, and that might be the make or break of if you know you really want to be with that person. Definitely make sure that there are people that know where you're going, that know the address of where you're going, have like your location on iMessage or Snapchat or something, so like if something does happen, they know where you are, where to like send help. And just kind of end the video, I thought I would do a couple pros and cons. A stronger bond is definitely a pro of a long distance relationship, and communication skills is another one. You will learn how to communicate with the person if things are working out positively, hopefully, but you will learn how to communicate with the person so much better than I feel like if you were just in a regular relationship, because you're kind of forced to have to communicate. And I really think that the communication skills that you pick up while being in a long distance relationship will help you for the future when you do move in together, do get married, etc. Like, I think that especially if you carry those over into real life, they will really help you. I also really do think that it makes you stronger independently, not like constantly hanging out with the person IRL. So you kind of are forced to have your own social life, have your own friends, have your own hobbies and things to do, your own job. You're not constantly spending 24/7 with the person in person, and then like not creating those relationships with other people and like hobbies and stuff for yourself. Okay, what did I write down here for negative impacts? I think there are obviously a ton of negative things about a long distance relationship that again, long distance relationships are not for everyone. I want to make that very clear. I, for whatever reason, just have a thing for American guys, and I don't know what it is. Canadian guys just, I don't know, I'm just not attracted to Canadian guys. I think the biggest con, obviously, of being in a long distance relationship is the negative mental impact that it has. It is obviously very hard to miss the person all the time. Like, there's stories of being in a long distance relationship. There's a lot of anxiety, depression. A lot of that stuff can really manifest and come out when you're in a long distance relationship with someone, and just all the stress. I think just coming down to it, if you really know you want to be with the person and you 100% know that you want to put yourself through this, you're not 100% into it and you just don't know what you're doing, I don't know what to tell you. You probably shouldn't be in the relationship. But on a positive note, although long distance relationships are super stressful and super hard, they're definitely worth it if they're with the right person. And I am so happy that Corey found me and that I ended up finding literally my dream guy. If you're in a relationship right now, let me know down below. If you're single, you got this. Be the main character of your own life. Look out for warning signs and just be safe. Be fucking safe. Drink your water. I didn't really write an outro into the script, so I don't know where to end this.